podcast. My name is Jeff, as always, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Mr. Paul.
Hello, that's me, people. Hi.
How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm very good, Jeff. Thank you. I have a new hat, which I am wearing right now.
Oh, what's that?
Have you noticed this?
Yeah, it's got 9, 10, 11 and 12 doctors
Yes, it does.
stitched on it.
Yes,
That's pretty good.
It's all right, isn't it? It's supposed to have 13 on there with her goggles, so I don't know why she's not on there, but it turned up today with just those four likely villains. But that's fine. It's okay. I shall get another 13 one, so I'll have a complete set of the modern doctors.
Where did you get that from?
Online somewhere.
Well,
just
that'll
went
be
online.
easy to find.
Hence the reason it's a rather cheap-looking patch, because it certainly didn't look that cheap in the picture. That's
really?
for sure. But nonetheless, it is a Doctor Who hat, and I'm very pleased
cool.
to have one at least. So, yes, it's
that's
all good, my friend.
So tonight we're going to do another episode commentary, and we decided that we'd tackle the Ninth Doctor. So we asked people to comment online, Twitter and Facebook, what their favourite Ninth Doctor episode was, and that would be the one that we tackle. And there was a fairly overwhelming comment, I was trying to think of something spectacular avalanche of comments
for one story in particular.
Yes, for Boomtown.
And admittedly, a lot of that avalanche was caused by one particular person.
Yes, it was.
Who seemed to set everybody else off. Thank you, Mr. Felix Fraser.
Yes, yeah. So we're watching this for you. Now, I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched this episode since I bought the Season 1 box set. So that's a long time ago.
Are we talking like almost 20 years ago, Jeff?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because this is 2005. We're in 2023. So what's that, 18 years?
Yeah, 18 years,
18 years. So this is almost as old as, well, it is as old as some of the Hartnell stories would have been had you been watching the Peter Davison stories when they were broadcast.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's quite something, isn't it?
It's a long time, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, quite amazing to think that it's this old. Right, so if you're listening along and watching and you would like to join in our commentary, I'm going to hit play, as Paul is as well. And
yes,
we'll
are you going to count down this time?
I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then hit play.
Are we going on one? One.
Yeah.
We're going on one. Right.
One. Okay, 3.
Marvellous.
2, 1.
Okay, we're on.
Previously. With the Big Ben model. It's going back to. Oh, I was just thinking I've got the wrong episode, but of course it's going back to Aliens of London and stuff.
London, World War III recap, isn't it? Which is quite interesting because, completely independent of this, I was doing a sort of Series 1 rewatch, kind of on and off. It's taken me ages, and it's only a couple of nights ago that I watched these episodes. I'm quite well prepared for it, actually, I think.
Okay. So tell me, what are your thoughts on the Slitheen from Vaxicophalosaurus?
I've never been their biggest fan, not going to lie. But I don't mind them. I mean, they're as ridiculous and as horrific as any other ridiculous / horrific Doctor Who villain monster. There have been many of them in the years, and I think they just tick the box. Some people think they look dumb, some people think they look great, some people get the joke, some people don't like the joke.
I think they look good but silly, and I think they were quite clearly designed to appeal to kids. And the farting and all of that. I think people forget sometimes or choose to ignore that the show is a family show. And it has to appeal to you and me, to 8-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and a 5-year-old or even an 8-year-old, or maybe even some people of our age are going to find farting green aliens hilarious.
They would love that sort of thing.
They will love it.
Just the same as they would love a belching wheelie bin.
Yeah.
It's
and
the
so
same kind of thing.
When you look at it and you think, that's terrible, like the Pating, for example. Like my kids have seen the Pating and they think he's brilliant. There'll be somebody out there who will love it because it's not always aimed,
this is
for
very
you.
true.
Yeah. So the Slitheen, I think.
Thanks for that, Jeff. That's
all right. You're welcome.
That's put me in my place. Well done.
That's what happens when you don't like the Slitheen.
Jeff dictates. The world according to Jeff You don't like the Slitheen? Lump it. It's not for you anyway. Bugger off.
Well, no, I think, it's...
we just talked over the prologue there.
Yeah, we did there. Sorry, a guy got killed by a
Slitheen bashing. Yeah, a nuclear physicistic expert or something.
No, well, I'm not dictating anything. How dare you?
Oh, no, I'm only joking.
What I mean is, if you don't like them, which is absolutely fair enough, I suppose there's no point being furious about it because, someone else will think it's brilliant.
There will always be some people who's always going to be furious about something.
That's true.
Whatever it is doesn't conform to their
what they want. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, their idea of perfect Doctor Who, I suppose. But that's the same across any fandom.
I wonder if I know they've done a few Big Finish with the Slitheen in. I'd like to see if they could sort of make them scary somehow. So let me tell you a little story about this here, Cardiff Bay.
Go on then.
So some years ago, I went to Cardiff Bay.
Yeah, I've been there.
To film a Welsh opera female quartet that I was filming, and one of them was actually a singer in the the opera building there. That's where her main job was. So I went down, and we were going to film in the bay at night, and I made sure that I got down there early enough to be able to go to the Doctor Who exhibition or experience or whatever it's called. And I said to the guy Chris that I was filming with, I said, "I'm really sorry. I know you prefer Star Trek, but it's right there, so we're going." And
did he go with you?
He did, yeah. And,
brilliant.
We had permission to park in the bay, and all of that. So it was really good.
That's awesome. I used to when I worked in a proper job, I used to have some customers down that way.
Did you?
Actually, it was before Doctor Who had started filming there, so it was a couple of years before it had come back. And it's quite interesting because when this story came out, I recognised a lot of the places, even the restaurant that they have their dinner in. So I thought, yeah, I've been there. I know that place because it was all quite new back then. It wasn't that old.
Yeah.
One of my clients had a really nice shop there, full of very expensive stuff. I'm also just going to get something up on my phone, so I've got it. Here we go. So this is interesting, isn't it? So we see Mickey back in...
Yes, this episode's got Mickey and Captain Jack in it.
And Captain Jack. Now, Captain Jack has just kind of joined the team after coming through the Are You My Mummy episodes, isn't it?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Just before that. So he's quite new, really. He's quite fresh-faced, and he does look very young, John Barrowman here.
Yeah, he does look very young. I know this is pushing 20-odd years ago, but yeah, he does look young there, yeah.
And interesting as well is his who you captain of the innuendo squad. I like that; it's quite good. But his character isn't quite fully formed. He's not quite the Captain Jack. I think
he hasn't got the coat and stuff there.
Appreciate a little bit further on. He's still a little bit. I mean, in the Doctor Dances, he was quite antagonistic to the Doctor, wasn't he? When they first met, and now they're sort of getting on a little bit. But now, of course, Mickey's got to meet him, and he's not. He's kind of got his heckles up against Captain Innuendo or Captain Cheese. Very cheesy. Which reminds me of Ryan's line about Jack later on in the Dalek story.
Yeah.
Cheesy. Cheesy? He's very cheesy.
Does Jack leave at the end of this one, and does he not meet the Doctor again until series 3?
No, he doesn't leave. No. He goes through the finale.
Oh, he's in the end, isn't he? Yes.
Series.
That's right, because that's when he becomes made... he gets immortal then, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes,
so
that's right.
This is great here. I mean, this is, I think, Russell T Davies having a huge amount of fun with this because basically there's something here. We are going to build a nuclear power station right in the middle of Cardiff, which is brilliant because why would you not? But it's immediately, a kind of enemy, a bad project. And everyone's up for it. Look at that. Cardiff Castle will be demolished, allowing the Blythe project to rise up tall, a monument to Welsh industry. And everybody's like, yay, isn't that great? No, it's not. And we're not supposed to think it's great. But it's almost cartoon-like in its in presenting us with something that we're not going to like. We're gonna be defensive about it. We're going to hate this project. And we know that Margaret Blaine is actually a Slitheen. So we know something's going on here.
Yeah,
and of
that's
course
something...
she just killed the nuclear physicist guy.
And we've already
trying
got
to warn
that.
us that it was all, it's all going to blow up and it's not going to be a happy ending.
Yeah, we've got that information ahead of the the characters here, haven't we? About it. Yeah, you're right. It's a bit sort of over the top, and it's the sort of thing. It makes me think. When you're watching like or any superhero film or reading
it's a bit kind of
SpongeBob
SquarePants, I think.
Yeah, and these people always have these huge labs and lairs and things that they've had built, and I think I'd love to see something where they go to the bank and try and get the money for it. They do that in Despicable Me. There's a bank for evil people, isn't there? And in Austin Powers they have Bob's been run over by a steamroller.
But I think, again, as we were saying earlier, this is I think this is clearly aimed at families and the younger end of the audience, that whole thing, because let's make it immediately an evil project. Let's make it really, really obvious. And, like I said before, the great thing about Russell T Davies' writing is he puts everything on the surface, and he almost kind of heightens it as well. So he puts it there, and he makes the peaks bigger, the troughs deeper, so it's really, really obvious, and then kind of wraps it up in some really wonderful sort of comedy, and which immediately segues into some dark stuff, and then also some sort of familial drama type stuff as well. It's very good he's very good at what he does. Whether you kind of get on with that or no is something left to your own devices, I think. This is interesting as well, because she's taken the journalist away, and who's also started making a bit of a nuisance of herself.
Yeah, she says to her, "I'd like to have a word in private."
Right, we know what's going to happen here, don't we? That's the thing. She's not going to come to a happy end.
Also, I'd like to apologise if you're watching this episode of the podcast, not Boomtown. I'm very dark here because I'm sitting in my conservatory.
And I just noticed you've gone dark.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to get my light out. Let me just... Have
you put money at meter? You put your 50p on?
Yeah, look at that. If I put my thumb there you go. Right. Gone again, but I'm not going to do that. So, sorry, I'll try and brighten this up in the edit a little bit.
So she's squeezing herself out of her skin suit now, the Slitheen, the CGI version of the Slitheen.
Now, of course, we could laugh at those effects, but they were pretty good for the time. I love the skin suit there. It's so silly. Who?
It is. It's so ridiculous, but you go with it, don't you? Because if you don't, you're just not going to be much of a Doctor Who fan, really. So she's intending to make the information public, and here we go. She's preparing for the kill until the journalist mentions that she's got a boyfriend and she's getting married, and she could lose her job. So now we've suddenly got another dimension to someone who would have just been another number on the body count of an episode.
And that's quite interesting writing, really, because you see these baddies killing and all of that, and you often don't get any kind of backstory to them or anything like that. And this is so prominent here, and it shows there is an element of humanity. I can't remember her name, the Slitheen, but
Margaret Blaine.
Let's go Margaret, and it stops her in her tracks, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, because I think family is one of the important themes in this story. We've got Margaret Blaine, or Blon Fel-Fotch, I think her Slitheen name is, who's lost all her family because the Doctor killed them all.
Yes. And
she's kind of found this, or she's been struck by this sudden emotion from, listening to the journalist saying that she's planning a family, she's about to start a family, she's pregnant, as well as getting married. So suddenly Blonde decides that she's not going to kill this woman after all. So and this is something, isn't it? Because we've started with something that began very comic book, and now we've gone into some genuine emotional drama.
And it's even more surprising. All of us.
We all understand family, isn't it? And again, and this is, I think, the first time really that we've seen this in Doctor Who, and I think certainly the first time that we start to understand that this episode might be a little bit different from the kind of episodes that, the kind of stuff that we'd seen in Doctor Who previously. This bit actually with the guys in the restaurant, I do find quite annoying, actually.
I do. Well, I was just going to say, it's really surprising there because, like you said, there's some genuine emotion in that previous scene, which when you look at it is a bulbous-faced, long-necked, long-clawed, green farting thing. And it's ridiculous, but it's, testament to the writing and the performance and also the animatronics as well, because, there's quite a lot of good movement going on in that face there. And
did you see the Doctor there picking out that newspaper?
Yeah,
again, another comic book bit, right? He just picks a newspaper off a guy who doesn't react. If you were sitting in a restaurant and some bloke come up to you and whack the newspaper out of your hands, would you just sit there and let him get on with it?
But for the sake of the plot, he can't. I quite like them all sitting there.
You were halfway through saying something.
Just saying it's quite nice that the you get that bit of emotion from the Slitheen there like that. I was going to say as well, I like seeing the four of them sitting there in the restaurant having a chat and kind of being normal. You don't really get that very often in the show. They never make an episode like this. But I'd love one where they just go to the fun fair, go and have dinner, go watch a film, and it's just TARDIS life without the danger, because it must happen. We just never get told about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like to see that episode. I think it would be a little bit dull, mate.
I think it'd be not what you expect. But it's like when I used to think when I was watching like Buffy or something, you'd get this big scene where something's dangerous and something's bad, and we need to deal with this, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, right, we'll get on it, and then it cuts to the next scene. And it's the evening, and then they're dealing with it, and you think, well, they must have finished that other scene, gone to school, gone through the day, gone to work, not dealt with any of it, and then they've got, do you know what I mean? There's still these normal bits to be filled in. Yeah.
Listen to this line here, when the guy's coming in trying to make an excuse, the fact that Margaret Blaine's not available to see the Doctor. Can he make an appointment? She's climbing out the window, isn't she? Yes, she is. She's legging it. This is a lot of fun, I think, this bit here. And again, we're going from comic book to emotional drama to back to comic book in a way. We got, like you said, we got the TARDIS team being friends, just having cracking a few jokes, telling a few outrageous stories.
It's turned a little bit Mission Impossible now, isn't it?
I won't go that far. But it's in that direction,
and
definitely.
Look, just little things there, like
sequence.
Jack heroically jumps over the trolley, and Mickey ends up with his foot in a bin and toilet roll.
Exactly,
which is very character, book,
I don't know if it's more caricature, I think, than character. I think,
but it fits both of them.
Mickey's like the fun guy at this point, isn't he? Right?
Yeah.
Which again contrasts with who he is towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So again, it's that thing of using familiar tropes and having a good old hoot with them, and then switching suddenly into the drama, the slightly darker drama and the emotion of the piece.
Now, I believe that walkway bit where she is there has been used in multiple episodes as different things.
Ah, right. Very possible.
And also the room where the Doctor ran in and climbed out the window is the same room for Saxon's PM room.
Yeah. I think actually it was the same one as well that they used in Aliens of London.
Yes, it probably was.
Kind of number 10 cabinet room, right?
Oh, this is a nice bit of comedy.
It is, except this is the thing, right? Now, one thing I've noticed having been rewatching this series is that the Sonic it starts off actually being used very sparingly, but now it's suddenly a way to stop Margaret Blaine from running away.
Yeah.
So again, it's starting to become that kind of ubiquitous get out for pretty much anything. Because actually the Ninth Doctor, he hasn't really used it that much. It has put in an appearance, increasingly so, but not as much as when you think of recent series.
Yeah.
Where it seems to be kind of waved around at pretty much everything. See again, this station's designed to explode as soon as it reaches capacity. Yeah, it's not good, is it? I like this from Margaret Blaine here, actually. Sort of kicking off about the fact London doesn't care about whales, and then realising that she's gone native. See, and again, with this thing here, right, so we're 20 minutes in, near enough. We're not even 20 minutes in, and the Doctor and team have kind of literally exposed the baddie, exposed their evil plot, and also exposed some technology. And really, this is kind of the end of the story in a way, except it isn't. Because this isn't really what the story's about. This is the kind of, the Doctor Who adventure. But the story is about much, much more than that surface detail. And of course, here we're coming up to the Doctor realising that something is following him through space and time. And he's just noticed the name of the project, and he's just kind of walked up to it as Jack goes on about surfboards from the future and stuff like that.
Sorry, I'm really, really dark here.
You are really dark. It looks kind of moody, though.
I can't have my phone light staring at me. Sorry, my video's useless tonight. maybe this won't go out on YouTube.
Mate, I think you look better in the dark.
Well, you would, yeah.
Bad Wolf. Of course, we've seen Bad Wolf. Those words appeared quite a few times throughout this series. Foreshadowing something, perhaps. Yes. Who knows?
A little bit of graffiti.
Well, do you know what? You say that. I've been watching it. It's a little bit more than that.
Is it?
It's more like it's a meme, isn't it? It's like a mood. It's a theme that's been following them through. And yes, it does appear in the graffiti, but it appears in a lot more things.
Oh yeah, no, it does. Yeah, you're right. It's on a couple of signs and
yeah. But it's not
just
it's not just the writing. Bad Wolf. It's the idea of something, a monster from the dark chasing them through time and space, through the forest of space and time, if you like, right? That's me getting a little bit metaphysical here. It kind of shows its appearance on occasion, a flash of green eyes, an ear, a tooth there or something, the occasional word of graffiti or, whatever it is. In here, it's the name of a project, which if it runs to, if it goes live, is going to destroy the planet, not just Cardiff. It's going to crack open the whole planet. So it's something that is constantly associated with doom and danger, and that fits nicely as we kind of roll into the finale of the series.
But why did Rose choose to send the words "Bad Wolf" back in time?
I haven't watched that again yet, so I'll tell you when I get to it.
Good
I
dodge.
might well go out and watch it after this, actually.
I'm smiling.
I can't tell in the dark. It looks a grimace. Oh dear. So we've got a little bit of technobabble here. Now, okay, so this is interesting because now the bad guy, the villain, is stuck in a TARDIS with the rest of them, which doesn't always happen. In fact, I don't think it's ever happened. We've caught the villain, we've foiled their evil schemes.
Well, the Cybermen got in with was it the 6th Doctor or the 5th?
No, I don't mean that. I mean, actually finishing the story or finishing the adventure and bringing the villain.
Oh, and invited into
the TARDIS, and then seeing as viewers what that conversation looks like. It's almost like the downtime, isn't it? We've seen a lot of stuff already that we haven't seen before in Doctor Who. Everyone having fun in the restaurant. The evil villain having a bit of an existential crisis. And now she's challenging them all to look her in the eye, because if they do take her back to Raxacoricophalopatorius, was it Raxacoricophalopatorius?
Raxacoricophalopatorius.
Yeah, if they take her back there, then she's going to be melted in acid or something, I believe. So let's see which of you executioners can look me in the eye. Cue camera shots. Mickey thinks I can do it. Can you, Mickey? Can you really? Go on then. No, I can't. What about you, Rose Tyler? Yeah, no, she's not even trying.
Yeah.
The Doctor, a little bit more enigmatic from the Doctor. It's almost like he's not playing that game. He's not doing this. He knows what she's trying to do. She's trying to get in everybody's heads.
Yeah.
Or is she? Is she genuine? This is a great shot. Sorry, I'm rambling here, but I love this shot of Mickey against the fountain.
Yeah.
That little pan down with the water, and we see his kind of silhouette there.
Yeah, that's the where the Torchwood lift is, isn't it?
Later. That's right, and the rift. rift in space-time, as we saw again previously in The Unquiet Dead. So it's nice how these little, little threads are sort of intertwining through different stories in the series. And again, that was very much a Bad Wolf episode because Gwen? She foresees the Bad Wolf in Rose, or she feels its presence lurking somewhere around her. And of course, her psychic power, is tied into the rift, which is on this site. So it's a nicely constructed series. I don't think the Bad Wolf thing is really an arc as such. It's a theme, which runs through the series.
What's quite nice as well is that things like this and the the rift and the Torchwood stuff are developing Cardiff as this centre of things and building the world of the show off the back of our actual world, as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about this series, isn't it? It had started happening at the end of the classic series with Sylvester McCoy's final season, where Doctor Who was starting to feel more urban and more grounded in the real world. Like, yes, there's always going to be a fantasy element to it. There's always going to be something fantastical and exciting and dangerous. But it's actually... It also has a foothold, a much stronger foothold now in the world that we know, which kind of gets us all a little bit more invested in the danger and the excitement and everything. I think we kind of go with it because we recognise this landscape.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I could have just said that, couldn't I? It would have saved all my dogs. Saved all my dogs.
I don't know why you'd save your
saved
dogs.
all my words because I'm reading the subtitles and Margaret's thing about the Isle of Dogs came up, and I'm getting a bit old, mate. Yeah. So she laughs now. So now they're laughing with her. Do I get a last request? See, again, her character in this story is slightly different to Aliens of London. She was very much a pantomime villain, again, with all the Slitheen in there. And now she's still that. She's still got little echoes of that, her delivery and her sort of laugh, a sort of cheeky way of sort of dropping a good one-liner in there.
Yeah.
But she's really trying to get in their heads now. She's trying everything. She's tried the kind of empathy thing, and now she's trying, to get them to laugh with her.
Yeah. I quite like that she's
there as well, actually. That line about the Doctor being in danger. She can't escape the Doctor. So again, another kind of Russell T Davies trope with the Doctor being a kind of harbinger of ultimate doom, almost a godlike presence that stalks the universe, trailing a wake of death and destruction.
But saving things at the same time. I quite like that she's lit green there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Sorry, I talked over you saying that, didn't I?
That's all right.
A terrible thing of me. Yeah, she's lit better than you are at the moment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Get a green light.
Green light, yeah. Slitheen
a little
aesthetic.
Slitheen green. Jack's got magic space handcuffs. That goes.
Of course he has.
Of course he has. Yeah, why not? Just pulls them out of nowhere.
Well, probably the same place he pulls the blaster
the
out of in. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is something, isn't it? The fact that the Doctor and his enemy here are going to go to a restaurant and have dinner. And okay, she's kind of challenging him.
And also in
trap, but still.
The first series of the show coming back like this is quite it's a very unusual and almost experimental episode in some ways because it's so strange and quite a ballsy move to do it. Like now, most shows wait. Like I know there's a musical Star Trek at the moment, isn't there? And they did a musical in Buffy, and they waited 6 years to do that, or the silent episode and stuff like that. So when you do your weird ones, you wait a little while normally till your audience is invested.
Yeah, but they're straight in there, aren't they?
Yeah, and this is clearly a cheap episode because they were saving money elsewhere. But it works.
It does, and there's a bit of criticism I've seen online with this thing being just a filler episode. It's kind of leading in to the finale, so it's almost like a prelude to that or a prologue to it. And, and that's fine, but I don't think even if it was just that there's actually any harm in it.
No, but you know what?
In being that.
Sorry to cut
That's
in.
all right, go on.
I don't think, for me personally, there's any such thing as a filler episode in Doctor Who.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's
Doctor Who
exactly where I was going with that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's not a show that is particularly arc heavy. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't going to sound quite so angry about it as you seem to be going.
No,
now,
and I don't mean that.
I'm with you on it.
It's not you're twisting the stuff I'm saying, and I don't mean it. It's not. It does have arcs, but they are small elements of episodes that lead into the finales in most series, whereas some other shows, say Game of Thrones, for example, the arc is a lot bigger and a lot more kind of prominent, and Doctor Who
even in Doctor Who Flux, for example, it was more prominent there, wasn't it?
Yes.
But then that was designed as a serialized
it was designed to be serialized, but you still had what can pass as adventure of the week, to an extent with War of the Sontarans, of Village of the Angels. They don't entirely make sense on their own because of the Flux elements. But for me, an episode like Tooth and Claw or Smith and Jones, that's what Doctor Who is. Those individual episodes with a beginning, a middle, and end, and you might get a little bit of an arc element in them, such as the mention of Torchwood or Saxon in those episodes, but it's not difficult to explain.
I take an arc as being a bigger story, of which the episodes are a part of, and there is actually so little of Doctor Who that's like that. Even this series is not really an arc series. It's not a serialized single story told. There is a bigger narrative, but it's so slight. Even in this story, really, it's a minimal part of it. With something like Flux, it's a lot heavier, but Flux was designed that way. That's how it was written. So the balance is shifting slightly.
And that's what I mean. Like the Bad Wolf mentions, they're not things that are.
They're
integral
themes,
to the plot.
Really.
They're things. They're not happening to the characters, or they're not events happening that drive things. Of course, it is at the end, but it becomes different then. But saying this is a filler episode of Doctor Who. Well,
it doesn't.
They're
really
almost all filler. Then I've seen people online talk. People online talking about it. Yeah. Do you like the arc episodes of Doctor Who more than the fillers? And I thought.
Well, I wouldn't even respond to that, mate, to be honest.
Well, no, I didn't reply, but I just thought if you went for arc-only episodes, you'd only have a 4 or 5 episode season, because those are, like, that's when you get a mention of something, It doesn't, the show isn't hung around the arc, the arc is dropped into them, if you see what I mean.
We're sort of talking over the best part of the story here, in my opinion. This little two-hander between Annette Badland and Christopher Eccleston, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good.
2 powerhouse actors delivering a fantastic little scene written specifically, you think, for them.
Well, no,
it's just wonderful. They are absolutely selling it. We've had a little comic book stuff when she was trying to gas him and throw poison dart at him, and now we got the drama, and of course we got more drama to come with Mickey and Rose out on the riverside. And again, this has gone from a sort of laughy, jokey, you're my boyfriend, but you're not my boyfriend, blah 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 kind of thing. Now we got something that feels more like it could have come out of EastEnders or Corrie.
Yeah, it's very soap, isn't it?
It is very soap, but it's played for real by these two. They're not. They don't actually sound like they're coming out of a soap opera.
No.
This is still very much within the world of Doctor Who. And again, we'd never really seen this. We've never had this kind of argument between companions. We'd had a little bit of a falling out in Earthshock with Adric and Tegan and Nyssa and the Doctor, and that was about as close as we ever got in the old days to anything like this. And actually, we've never had anything since. Or maybe actually a bit stuff with Ace and the Doctor. Now we're pulling it back here as well. So it's kind of building on that, but
they're both really
and
good
making
here.
It part of the texture of new Doctor Who,
and stuff like this is one of the things that modern audiences responded to and connected with. And I say it's soap opera. I don't mean it's like soap opera level, but it's what you might call kitchen sink drama type of thing. And it's quite unusual. Like you said, you didn't really get that in Doctor Who before. but since the revival, it's a big part of it, and that's one of the things I think that has made it work for modern audiences, because you can invest in and care in these characters, because it's more than just chasing monsters and stuff.
Well, like I said, they'd started doing that with the Seventh Doctor stuff, hadn't they? With Ace and the sort of urban background of survival.
And perhaps if they hadn't done that, you wouldn't have had it like this in this series.
Yeah. But I think again, that for us, for those of us who were around during the Seventh Doctor days and who sort of grew up with it, like you did, that was always again part of the texture, but maybe it wasn't as big a part of it. And now this is Russell T Davies saying, well, that is definitely part of Doctor Who, and I'm going to make it now. I'm going to build this story around this little scene here, because this is, for me, the whole point of watching Boomtown is to get this scene. Look at how close the camera is on those faces, Jeff. That's theatrical, isn't it? Almost, that's a spotlight, a single spotlight on the both of them. And they're talking about the morality here. Now, again, we don't know at this point what the Doctor's done, right, with Gallifrey and the Time War and everything. We've had a little few hints. We've seen a few tears drop from his eyes. But when you look at this, and we were talking about rewatch value on our previous podcast. When you look at this again and you pull all that weight in, you know that he's killed his own people, and it gives added weight to that moral conversation between him and Blon Fel-Fotch.
And I suppose you could assume that she knows about all of that as well.
I don't know if she does. I think she maybe suspects it. She knows the Doctor's dangerous. She knows he's a killer. She's already said, he's already said the sort of things that she recognises a killer would say, because she's born to kill, like she's saying here. She was brought up in it. But now something's going on. So we've obviously had far too much conversation going on. Time to bring back a few pyrotechnics.
Yes. And Jurassic
Park.
Park.
Smash window. Yay, everybody screams. Rose has run off. Mickey's left standing. He's really angry here. It's always him. It's always the Doctor. It's never going to be me. I love that. That's fierce. And they can't get too far apart, these two guys. Because if they do, zzzt, as Jack put it. And she doesn't want to run away. No, she's sticking with the Doctor. He's the safest person to be within a crisis, apparently.
Yeah.
Mate, you've gone totally dark now. I can't even see you at all.
That those lights that were swinging in the shot previously, I wonder if someone was standing at the top of the on a ladder flicking them. I've turned my screen up now, but now it's hurting my eyes.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's where we did our filming.
I love these.
Where that crack is.
I love those CGI cracks in the pavement. I think they're great. Do you know what? When I was this looks pretty good on my computer screen here actually, but I've been watching series 1 on iPlayer on my main telly, which is a big old 4K UHD thing, right? And obviously what it's trying to do is trying to upscale a lot of this stuff. But this was all recorded in standard definition.
Yeah, it was.
So if you think high definition is what, twice the resolution of standard definition?
A bit more than that, yeah.
A bit more, isn't it? And 4K is 4 times the definition of high definition. So my TV really struggles with this, with these series, with these episodes actually, and the end result makes them look more like video because it's trying to put extra information in, trying to smooth it out. There's a lot of processing, so it almost looks like an old classic series, which is really weird. It gives it that sort of outside broadcast kind of look.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I'm watching it, but the kind of feeling, the vibe I'm getting as watching them as outside broadcast, right? Quotation mark fingers. It's odd. It sort of feels a little bit cheap almost, Do
you remember when they released the first 4 series on Blu-ray? And I was going to buy it. It was a nice box and everything. And then I sort of read a few reviews and they said because it was all shot in SD, the upscale to HD is basically negligible. So I thought, I'm not going to spend £100 when I've got them as good as you're really going to get. And then now, if they were to scan the masters, they might be able to get it a bit better for the collection in time.
I hope they do actually, because I think it's worth it.
Oh yeah, it would be. I mean, they've done it to everything else, haven't they?
Yeah,
but
the thing is, when I watched it on my big telly, it really did look 20 years old and then some. You could really see things where the CGI was transposed onto the film, and it.
But for example, is why Buffy has never come out on Blu-ray, because they have the masters, but all the effects were rendered in basically flat 2D stuff, so they can't upscale them because they won't look any good.
Effects back in those days, weren't they?
Yeah, and so it would never look good, upscaled at all.
They managed to do it with Star Trek: The Next Generation, but they only did it by redoing all the special effects from scratch.
That's it. They'd have to redo it all.
That's the only way they could do it, really. So they had the negatives of the originals, but they had to just redo the special effects, which obviously is a massive, massive budget.
Exactly,
So you've got to have the audience. Now back to the story. So Blon Fel-Fotch, Margaret Blaine, has revealed her true colours. It was all a trap for the Doctor. She was only pretending. She's tried to grab hold of Rose, and now, in her final moments, her little trap by having that future surfboard plugged into the TARDIS has caused the rift to kind of do its thing. And something from the TARDIS, the heart of the TARDIS,
which comes back into play a bit later in the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, but of course we don't know that at this point, do we? So I remember the first time I watched this, and I thought, well, where the hell does that come from? I thought at the time it was just a bit of a Deus Ex Machina kind of ending. It's like, well, let's just have the TARDIS do her in. With something that we've never seen before. Yeah. Really. So I wasn't massively impressed by it. But of course, as you said, it does play out and feed into the next, last story of the season.
And to be fair, you can say the TARDIS is a, in theory, magic box, and it's got all sorts of things within it.
It's very magical here.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't, and hasn't, laid out all of its features and facilities.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so you can make up anything in a way. But I thought at the time to do that in order to bring the story to a satisfactory ending, was asking a little bit much. I thought it was a little bit cheap. I thought it was a bit of a hand of God type kind of thing. And and if I've got one criticism to make with Russell T Davies' writing, and it's only very minor, he does do that a lot, but I think here he does actually make it work.
Yes,
because it pays off in a massive way towards the end of the series in an even bigger, quite literal hand of God moment. Yeah. So he obviously likes that, but that's what it is. That's his writing. Take it or leave it. And he's big and bad and famous enough that he doesn't have to worry about these things. And quite right too. I'll give you that. But again, it's in the TV movie, we saw a lot of things happen that we'd never seen before in the TARDIS. Yeah. We had the actual Eye of Harmony in there as well. Yeah. So I think in my head, that was actually looking into the Eye of Harmony. I was quite disappointed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We've had that before, haven't we?
In fact, we even had the Doctor sort of turn back time. So, I can hardly accuse Russell T Davies of bringing in the hand of God to wrap up the story in a nicely convenient way. Because he does it with such style anyway, so it really doesn't matter. As I said, it's only a minor criticism.
I was just looking at the TARDIS set there. It's quite busy, that one, isn't it? Like a lot of cables and wires and stuff hanging around. It's a shame it was never shot really much in full HD, because I think it would have benefited from that.
Maybe they'd probably have to stock it up with a few more props and things, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
This is quite nice now. So Rose has gone back to find Mickey after the carnage, hoping that he's all right. She gets distracted, I think. She asks a policeman, where is he? We guess, we don't actually hear, but presumably she's looking for Mickey. He could go up to her right now. Yeah. He's clearly still upset, but he thinks, I'm just going to walk away. So is he walking away not so much because he's upset with Rose, but because he wants to let her have her life with the Doctor? He's upset by that, obviously, because
it's a bit of both. I think,
he chooses not to be part of her life now. He has to make that decision himself.
And also, that's quite interesting as well, because it's only a sort of relatively small part of the episode, but he's gone from being that, burp, plasticky, tin robot boyfriend to actually having a bit more depth to him.
He has, dog. Yeah, absolutely. And kudos to Noel Clarke really for being that good an actor. So he brought a lot more to the role than was originally intended.
Yeah.
So they kind of wrote for him going forward, didn't they, and expanded the character outwards. And interestingly as well, of course, the Doctor always calls him Ricky, which again pays off in the next series, doesn't it? Because it turns out it actually is his name. There we go. Ending. Next episode coming up.
Oh yeah, this is so RTD, isn't it? With
so this
is
the story that's actually called Bad Wolf, isn't it? I think. And then of course we get the parting of the ways afterwards. I'm going to watch this next because I'm
enjoying this two-parter. It's very dated now in terms of like, the references in it and stuff. But at the time, it wasn't.
Well, you say that. I mean, Big Brother's still going, isn't it? Or
well,
it was
true.
going until it was brought back quite recently.
Yes, it was.
Weakest Link is still going with Ramesh.
Yeah.
And of course,
and then they showed them
again.
there.
Yeah. No surprises. Well, there is a big surprise, obviously. On the whole thing, but. Come back next week because we got Daleks back.
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you make of that then, Jeff? First time we've seen it in quite a while.
I enjoyed it actually. I know we've been talking over it, but it's quite good to.
That's what a commentary is, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah. To dive into it a bit more. Yeah. It's. I think. At the time, you'd had this sort of cracking string of episodes that were sort of big sort of sci-fi adventures, and then you had this, and it almost kind of, grinds to a halt, really, this run, and by which I mean, you get very kind of conversational in this and character, and I think at the time, I'm, bearing in mind it was quite a long time ago, and I was obviously younger than I am now, and I kind of thought, oh, this is not what we've had, before, and I didn't think it was bad, I just preferred other stuff in that series, and because of its sort of very un-Doctor Who-like nature in a way, it's not one I often kind of I haven't gone back to watch, but it's been nice to kind of reappraise it, and like I said, I didn't ever think it was bad, but I'm not going to sit down to watch it again in a hurry, because there was a chat the other day in the chat group that we have. And someone said, what episode would you show to someone to sort of introduce them to Doctor Who? And someone said, well, Blink is one of the best. But then someone else said, well, the Doctor's hardly in it. And Blink's a great episode. But
probably not.
It's not your typical Doctor Who. Again, quite experimental in a way. And Boomtown, it's not your typical Doctor Who episode. So
no, it's not. No.
But we had a lot of comments from people, didn't we?
We did.
About this one.
We do.
Do you want to see if you can get the Facebook ones up quickly?
I've got some up here actually. Yeah.
Okay.
This is from one of the groups that were on Facebook, Doctor Who Infinity. Actually, there's still quite a few more posts coming in now. Actually, just as I'm going in, I've got notifications telling me that more people have commented upon your post and reacted and all the rest of it.
I'll just read
I'll read some of those.
Oh, okay. You go.
So we got let's have a look. We got Thomas Tokley here, who says it's an underrated gem of a story, one of my top 3 comfort episodes to watch. We've got Mike Genovese, who says, and it's nice that the character got another chance, presumably referring to Margaret Blaine or Blon Fel-Fotch. Here we go. Anna Diaz, who says an acting duel between Annette and Eccleston. It's delightful to watch them. Absolutely agree that. Oh, and here's an interesting one as well. Michael Audrison says, there's a scene when the Doctor chases presumably Margaret Blaine and outpaces her with timey-wimey trickery. If it's that easy for him, it makes a nonsense of every pursuit since 1963. So presumably, Michael, that's the moment where she's trying to get away and he just brings her back with a click of the sonic.
Yes.
What else have we got? There's a lot of people saying it's underrated, a gem of an episode. Rian Kerwin says funny yet also has a nice edge, and once it shifts, unlike Aliens of London / World War III, which flip-flops in tone. I think there is a little bit of flip-flopping with this as well, actually, but I get what they're saying. It's when it does shift, in that moment in the restaurant is when it really shifts, and it stays in that place, even when it all starts kicking off afterwards. Annette Badland kills it alongside Christopher Eccleston. Ray Smith says, I love this type of episode. should do them more often. So quite a few there.
Yeah, we've got a few here. Gilster says one of the best episodes of the season. The dinner scene between Margaret and the Doctor and the foreshadowing of the finale using the heart of the TARDIS are my favourites. Robot of Death says great episode, comic moments, heavy discussions, depth of character. Annette is terrific. Definitely, and gives Eccleston the chance to show what he can do opposite a class act, given some weight in the script. Not for the only time, but perhaps the best, ? Ben Ripley says one of my favourites. Eccleston and Badland are phenomenal. Thea Sigma says standout scene is the restaurant scene. This goes back to something you were saying earlier, Paul. Professor Stephen Hawkwind says, why does the man who the Doctor snatches a paper away from not punch his lights out? He just sits there. And the true Doctor Who fan says, I love it. People slate Boomtown because of its comedy and its monster, but it's so deep, really. Not only is it dealing with the past, but to an extent the future of both series and nearly their spin-off, but it also deals with the consequences of the Doctor's actions. So there's a lot of love for it, really. Which is...
there is. There are a few negative comments. Again, on Facebook, we've got a few people saying it's a bit naff. I think it's boring. Sort of few of those, but there's also enough that say it's a fun romp. That's Christelle Holmes on our page as Stuffy and Likes, who says it's a hoot.
Oh yes, so I saw that.
It is one that's, I don't know. It seems to be you either love it or you hate it. I think there seems to be very little middle ground. For me, with this one, I've watched it a few times, and there are times when I think it's all a little bit contrived and a bit ridiculous, and I'm not in the mood for it. But actually, when I watch it other times, I think it's a cracking, it's a unique story.
It is unique,
it's
and
really
I quite
good
like
at
that.
what it does, and it shows us something. It takes us to a place that we've only ever skirted around at best in previous Doctor Who. The great thing, like you were saying, Russell T Davies here, in his very first series writing for Doctor Who, has gone straight in there into uncharted territory, or barely charted territory, and taken it by the horns and said, I'm going to spend 45 minutes telling this story this way. The adventure is done within 20 minutes, as we said, but that isn't the story. The story of this is that kind of morality play, that exchange of themes and histories and good versus evil and perspective. Because from Blon Fel-Fotch's perspective, she's not responsible for who she is, or is she?
No.
She was brought up to kill, to hunt, to slaughter as part of this massive
her culture,
family of criminals that she was born into. The Doctor, on the other hand, has a choice to do the right thing or not. And of course, the Doctor always, in his mind anyway, chooses to do the right thing. But she calls him out as a killer. She recognises those traits within some of the words that he says, the language that he uses, his, even the way he goes at things. She knows that there's a darkness there in the Doctor. And again, Russell is not unafraid to take us right into the heart of that darkness. And as we see it kind of play out over future series, we understand what caused it and why. So, it's a good one. There's a lot more going on. As I said, it is all at the surface. So you don't have to dig very deep to find it. All you got to do is just watch it with your eyes open, and it's all there. It's there for everybody to see, to enjoy, to discuss, or just not to like if you want. It's what it is. It's not Daleks on a mission, Cybermen blasting other things. It's just quite a dramatic piece of Doctor Who that we haven't really seen. So I will shut up because I realise I've been talking.
Well, I was just to say I am still here. I know you can't see me, but I am still here.
Blank space. You're like one of those like ghostly sheets. You literally look. You're freaking me out now. I have to say, you are literally the ghost
I left
of Jeff.
20 minutes ago.
The spirit. You're AI Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're looking like freaky Jeff, mate. You're kind of freaky there. Some freaky thing going on with your face, mate.
We'll sign off here because I'm sitting in the pitch black now. The next time I'll make sure I've got my light out.
And I changed my background.
Yes, I noticed you did.
Yes,
it looks really good.
I've now got a Doctor Who related background,
this is
which
what
has always
happens
been there, but just not in shot.
This is what happens when the kids don't go to bed on time. So I will sign off, and I will say thank you for listening once again, and we'll catch you next week on Who Corner to Corner, and I will talk to you a bit later.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Thanks a lot.
See you, everybody, then. Thanks for listening. Join us next time. Bye-bye.